Good morning, Young. Good morning.
Okay, hello guys. So we are going to start our webinar. So thank you so much for coming today. So we have we have distinguished speakers to share very important knowledge on branding. So welcome everybody. This is the first time that we are doing this Brazil Korea Brandseries webinar with the very interesting speakers from Korea and South Korea and Brazil. So thank you so much for your time to stay with us. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Soo Jung Ko. I am founding partner of Golden Oak Consulting, which is the consulting firm specialized in merger and acquisition investments. We are located in São Paulo, but we focus a lot on Latin America and Asia. Before I introduce our distinguished speakers, let me mention that this webinar is being recorded. So if you are on with the microphone on, please keep it off, please. We have a very important guest today to share the webinar Brandseries, what it can do for your brands. I would like to say my thank words to a few companies. So first, BR Visa. BR Visa is a company specialized in visa, international mobility of people. Also, I would like to give my thank words to the institutional support, Seoul Web Fest and Asia, Web Awards, Korea Brazil Society, COBRAS, Brazilian Institute for Development of International Business Relations, IBRE, Digital PR. Well, so what we are going to talk about today. Brands have realized the influence of the new medium of storytelling holds for its audience. Brands are recognizing that digital shows are a great way to connect with the niche groups who can drive affinity. This webinar honors the most creative and effective use of a branded content series, such as a digital web series of docu-series by a brand, agency, or organization. Moreover, the webinar will also present the legal aspects of brand investment in audiovisual protection, copyrights, and tax incentives channeled for branded TV shows in Brazil and Korea. Let me give my welcoming to the distinguished speakers. So first, Youngman Kang. Youngman Kang is a founder of YMK Films. Young directed several featured films and over 10 web series. All features films have been released on VOD, Netflix, and Amazon in the US and have sold in 15 countries. He has a total of 18 awards from a number of film festivals and web fests. Mr. Kang collaborated with the fellow film Avatar alumni, Just Cause 3D, on his 4D Experience project. His latest series, Lotte House, won 8 awards and selected over 30 film festivals. He is a founder and executive director of the Seoul Web Fest and Asia Web Awards. He has been a jury member at several web fests, such as the DICE Serial Digital Media Web Fest, among others. In sequence, Sergio Khalili. He's a founder of Hotspots. Realizing that Brazilian culture had been forgotten, he created the Liga da Mata project to work with the social and environmental education based on entrepreneurship that uses Brazilian folklore. Thus, he was born the novel Liga da Mata, O Renascimento da Alma, a work written in 3 volumes. To bring the characters to life, he created the cartoon of the same name already available on YouTube. As of 2016, he started to participate in international audiovisual festivals around the world having participated in about 60 festivals and winning 30 of them. In 2019, he created the World League of Myth and Heroes, a project that seeks to work with the mythological characters from all around the world for sustainable education and the preservation of the environment. This project has the special participation of producer Yang Mangang, respected audiovisual producer of South Korea, also speaker of this webinar. Finally, Rodrigo Salinas. Rodrigo Salinas is partner of CQS FE Advogados. Rodrigo holds Master in Law by FGV Direito São Paulo, Master of Laws from Columbia University, New York, and is Bachelor of Laws from the Law School of the University of São Paulo, USP. Rodrigo is professor of the Lato Sensu postgraduate program from FGV Law São Paulo. Rodrigo is ranked by Chambers and Partners as a specialist lawyer in media and entertainment. He advises clients of the media and content industries in general, phonography, audiovisual, advertising, editorial, among others, in the areas of intellectual property, contractual, and litigation. So again, thank you so much for participating in our webinar. Welcome our speakers. So as I mentioned, this webinar is being recorded. We are going to start with the presentation of 3 speakers. First, Mr. Kang, then Sergio, finally Rodrigo. So each one will have about 10-15 minutes without interruption. So we're going to listen to them. And then we are going to open the Q&A session. While the speakers are talking about their area of expertise, the audience can send me the questions, comments, or if you want to introduce yourself and turn on the video and direct the question to the speakers, please let me know so that I can do that for you. So again, thank you so much, Mr. Kang. So you are gonna be the first one. So your topic is Brandseries and the experience in Korea, and then I will keep continuing the presentation. So in the name of the organizations, by the way, I forgot to mention that as the organizer, we have the companies, our company, CKS FB, and Mr. Kang's company and Sergio's company. So we are, as organizers, are very honored to have you in our webinar. So let's get it started, okay? So Mr. Kang, you are the first one to start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Sergio, it's okay, the sound, the video, everything is clear? Okay.
No,
okay,
no,
let me
no.
start. Okay. Okay. My name is young man Kang. Just call me Young. And then I'm a filmmaker, also a web series creator, and also organizer of 2 web festival in South Korea. Then we have about 30 partnership all around the world, include Rio Web Fest. I love Rio Web Fest. I still remember the Rio Web Fest. I was in Rio before Corona pandemic, and then I had a wonderful time in there. Also, in the panel, I did exactly the same thing. Like today, I'm gonna talk about the branded series. So remind like my memory. So I love the Brazil, the Rio, the food, and amazing, especially the sunshine, the beach. And after that, actually, I was in the Sao Paulo too. Sao Paulo was a beautiful city, and had a great time with you guys. So, okay, let me start. Okay, what is branded series? Like branded web series is called branded series. So probably many the businessmen, also government officials, and from Brazilian and Korean side. So let me explain very easy way. So probably everybody knows what's the brand, but some people doesn't know what the series. So series came from the TV drama. So traditional like TV drama has a series, right? So that's why addicted the audience, the storytelling like every day. So that's why watch. So it's like a series. But now changing to new technology, so through web. So could be like maybe everybody knows Netflix. Okay, so this is called the series, but Netflix is more like a traditional TV style. So each episode like a little longer, like 30 minutes up to 50 minutes. But our the web series we are dealing with very short, maybe each episode between 5 to 10 minutes. So most of web series watch through a smartphone. So this is called the series. But we are making this series with product like brand. So how we make this happen? Okay, so let me explain. Okay, so traditional, the promotion, the advertising, usually, probably you guys know, TV commercials. Okay, so 30-second or 1 minute, maybe sometimes 20-second. It's very short, and then show just like a product, like the fast cut, and that's it. Because that spot is very, very expensive. Even though pay for the spot, very expensive, even produce that TV commercial is like a very, very expensive. That's why only few giant corporation company able to do those advertising. And then of course there's a small company they can do their promotion advertising through maybe cable channel, like a cheaper, like a TV cable. But nowadays, like new technology is like web. So now everybody jump into advertising through web. So maybe YouTube or Instagram, like Facebook, all the social media. Amazing thing is that social media is all free. So like amazing chance for like branding, promotion, and advertising those things. So traditional is like TV commercial, then also PPL. So PPL means product placement, which means when you guys watch TV drama series, sometimes you see some like brand logo or some products in the storyline. So which means that brand owner actually pay for that product appear in the drama. So that's why it's called the PPL. But now more like a new style from the traditional way, TV commercial and the PPL is now actually with the brand, the product, and with the storytelling, like combined together. It's like emerge. Okay, so let me explain, which means, okay, let's say, okay, the brand is maybe coffee, okay? Coffee. And then, for example, the PPL case, product placement. Okay, so let's say actors, they're acting it, and then maybe some intercut, maybe they showing maybe coffee drink and coffee product logo a little bit. Okay, that's the traditional way of PPL. But more new style, like a branded series, we try not showing only like product placement, like a product. We are merged with the storyline. So, which means all the storytelling take place maybe at the cafe, and then even the story itself about how to make a coffee, and then maybe some love story happening in that cafe, or maybe through drinking coffee, they have some interesting love interest or some very interesting storytelling. So that's why brand and storytelling emerge. So that's why brand series. So brand web series. Okay, so that's the very the easy way and then the simple way. So this one is like a very new. Korea, it's been like several years, like 10 years. So getting very popular in Korea. So Korea, actually, they produce a lot of the branded series. It's called the web drama. So, I mean, most of some cosmetic company, also the clothing, the company, and even the governments, like official, maybe tourism, and also education, all kinds of the branded web series, web drama these days in South Korea. And after they make, then they are showing through the YouTube, they promote automatically, then let the audience watch. Then naturally, they get into storyline, and then they automatically understand, what's the brand of this series. So automatically they like story, and then at the same time the brand. So that's why like Korea is popular, but not other countries yet. Probably Brazil pretty new, because I knew that when I do branded series panel in Rio Web Fest, actually not many people knows about. Also, one or just the two filmmakers actually they produce. That's it, and it's pretty much new. So that's why today I want to talk about what's the branded web series. So I want to talk about three perspectives. So first, the perspective, brand the owner, and then second perspective is audience perspective, and last, the third one is creators perspective. Okay, so let's just start brand owner perspective. Okay, so how brand owner could do with the brand. Okay, so I think a lot of you, most of you, I think all of you, company, maybe corporation, startup business, and also a retail, like a product store or organization, even like personal, maybe a freelancer. I mean, everyone, they have brands, also the pattern. Okay, so they are dying to promote, okay, their brand through the social media these days. So that's why a lot of the chance, but they don't know how to promote. So traditional way actually doesn't work well these days. Also cost a lot of money, and then it's not much effective. But through social media, it's getting cheaper, also very direct reach, like targeting to the audience. So that's why those branded company actually they are study. It's good to study about the branded series. Okay, so then second level is audience point of view. Okay, so let's say audience means like could be customers, okay, also could be buyers, So I mean, we have to realize, we have to study what they like these days, like what the young people like, and then for example, there's so many promotional the video on the YouTube, but some YouTube has a lot of view numbers, but some video has a less view numbers, because the audience have different taste. Also, these days audience, they are very, very picky. Okay, so they just choose what they like. They don't care, because there's so many product, so many the videos. So I mean, it's like is too much. It's very competitive. That's why you need a really good storytelling, like promotion, advertising, the way. That's why today I want to mention about how we make like new style brand series and approach to the audience and let the audience like, and then they might gonna fall in love your product, and then they're gonna buy it, they're gonna order, even they can share to their friends, and friends then become famous, then your product, your brand is gonna be a big success. Okay, so that's why the audience point of view is very, very important. For example, very easy way. These days, K-pop is very getting popular, and then the boy group, right? BTS. Probably a lot of young people knows BTS. And a while back, they have with a burger, McDonald actually. So they are like BTS menu. Then it's gonna be like selling huge. It's amazing big hit because audience already know like the K-pop stars, and then they match with the product, and then they automatically like that product too. Okay, that's the really good sample. That's why a lot of Korean web drama actually they cast Korean K-pop star because they have already a fan base. Okay, so let's say web drama is about maybe clothing, and then the K-pop star actually their main actor then wear nice clothing, and they act right in the storytelling. Then audience like automatically watch that drama. Probably like romantic comedy. A lot of web drama is like drama and the romantic comedy, like young love stories, and they already like the K-pop star, and then also they like the storytelling through like a new style like web drama, watch it through online, and then automatically they like the clothing what they wear. Okay, so then automatically the audience gonna like, okay, that's the brand. Okay, then okay, let me buy this. Okay, so that's the like easiest way to explain how audience react through the branded series, Korean the web drama. But okay, here is the problem is, okay, I have a company, but I don't have much budget. Okay, so especially like cast big name K-pop star, it's very expensive. So that's why those web drama usually, the big company, big corporation company were able to make. But don't worry about it. Even though the name star is not attached through the project, but if you have really good story and then very maybe attractive new face, then audience gonna love it. Okay, even audience make them as a new like a rising star. So that's the power of the web. Okay, these days. So that's why even small company has a chance if developed with the good story with the brand series. All right. So then the last one, third point of view is a creator's point of view, like filmmaker point of view. Okay. So okay, brand owner, even though you have a nice brand, but I mean, because you cannot make a branded series because you are not a filmmaker, you are not an artist. You are just like the businessman. You are just like a retail owner, but you need this like expert. Like us, like Sergio, we are like doing all the time like produce a web series. We are always like writing script. Probably the brand owner they need us. All right, so creators. So that's why creator point of view is very important. Like we need to work together. Okay, with the brand owner and then the creators. So when they meet, and then probably they discuss, they talk about like, okay, what kind of brand, okay, what kind of products, we're gonna make, and then we're gonna advertise through what kind of social media. All right. Then got idea from the brand owner, then creator probably writing a script with the storytelling. Okay, very naturally, like good way, like mixing the nice story and the brand. Then after writing script, and then let the brand owner read it, and they like it, they approve, then release the budget. Okay, so with the budget, we cast actors and hire crew members, and everybody actually make the web series, the branded series. Then after shooting, then post production, editing, the sound mixing, then eventually final product. All right. So with the final product, it's the time upload, maybe YouTube. Okay. So when you upload to YouTube, it's very important. Maybe nice way the tagline or hashtag. For example, maybe a Brazilian copy or Brazilian perfume. Okay, the hashtag. Okay, into the branded series in the YouTube link. Then maybe from Korean side, some maybe Korean buyer, they are looking for nice coffee from South America. So they are searching through online. Okay, then probably searching the maybe the Brazilian coffee, then could be automatically maybe the buyer can find that branded series through YouTube. Then he watch it, and then wow, it's a nice way of like storytelling, also very interesting about product. Then probably contact to them, then maybe start the business. So that's the like way of the doing the business. Okay. So yeah, today I just like very simple way 3 point. So probably this first to understand like what's the branded series and how we can do audience point of view and business owner point of view, also creator point of view. That's the way, three way we are combine and works is branded the series. Okay, so I hope maybe next time maybe more detail into more branded series. Okay, so thank you so much. Have this opportunity talk about the branded series.
Thank you, Mr. Kang, for your excellent presentation. That's a very good thought for our discussion in the Q&A session. So continuing, I will introduce now Sergio Khalili. Welcome, Sergio. So share with us your overview on Brandseries in Brazil, your experience. You have about 10-15 minutes to share your presentation. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sue. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me here. And it's a pleasure to me to talk about web series in Brazil and all around the world. Well, let me try to make you understand my English, because it's a little bit difficult for me, okay? Let's do that. First of all, what I experienced is that people now are not very interested in the popular way of publicity. So we are with web series, we are trying to change it because people don't have no time to watch TV, to stay a lot of times and waiting and looking for publicity in TV, you know. Then with web series is we can approximate brand from with their consumers, because we are talking about their proposite, their how they think about the world, what the products, how their product works with people, with social causes, and then we can show it for the people around the world. Then you can make the brand of your product, your brand, to get closer to your consumers. That's why we are working with this kind of branded series. When I worked with Young Man Kang, with in our Kimchi Warrior and Forest League series, it's called World Myths and Heroes League. And what we did do there? My web series talk about environmental, right? This is the main cause, and his product that calls Kimchi Warrior talks about food, like healthy food. So we put them together to work, and then we are working with. We did a teaser to go to food industry. I will show it for you in a few minutes. Okay. This is interesting because we can show how the food from this industry is better, is healthy, and why this industry is interested in make better, better. Well, people to be better, right? And in Brazil, we can work with a lot of companies. An example is Jeep. Do you know Jeep? They did a web series around talking about the way people work, the way people changed their lives when they bought that car. So you can show they what they want to show. They want to show to the people that with that car, people are gonna be more healthy, a lot of freedom, like more adventures, and it's incredible because with this web series, they grew. I think this is right. They sell more than 30%. Okay, they increase their brand. So it's much more interesting because they can use it in the internet, they can use it in the movies, they can use it in a lot of places, much straight to the point. And well, I can show the animation right now, Sue.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry about the sound because I think it's not everybody gonna listen the sound because it's not. This is a problem of the platform. Okay, let's try. I will show it right now. Just a second. I will talk a little bit. Okay, if you don't listen the sound. This is in the Brazilian forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you can listen.
Yeah, no, now listen. We can see it.
Ah, okay. This is when Kimchi Warrior is arriving. He's arriving to the Forest Lake uh, Grove. This is Kimchi Warrior, the hero from Asia, and this is the food from the industry. So you can see that he received the food, and then the Indian, the Pajé, the shaman, transformed transformed it in the pigeon. So it's gonna be like magical, you see? Now he's introducing to the Forest League team.
Sergio, we cannot hear you.
Okay, I'm telling that this is all the heroes working, how they worked in the forest, and now they are going to meet them. Now the pajé, the shaman is introducing the kimchi warrior to the people, to the Forest League heroes. They are coming here, and now they are going to work together. The mission is save the world. All right. All right. Um, just to you want to understand, in this presentation, in this teaser, we were working together. Forest League, Kimchi Warrior, they were working with the food industry from Korea, the food to try to make people to eat better. They have healthy food, and then that's what we're trying to do. We can do that with a lot of things because we don't have limit. Okay, we can work with a lot of companies, with a lot of kind of companies, because we want to make the world better for the people, like protecting the world, protecting the environmental, protecting humanity, and make people eat better. As Young said once for me, this food, it can protect, like for coronavirus, right, Young? So it's because it's healthy. So what is the best part? Uh, we can show to people that if we eat better, maybe we can live better, we can live longer, and then that's why. And we can do that, how I said, not for only for with Forest League, but with a lot of kind of. Recently, I was working with a brand that they have paint. I don't know how to say that in English. It's like they paint. I know, você sabe como fala tinta? Tinta em inglês?
Paint.
Paint. Okay. They paint. So I did for them. We are working on that. Is a web series that shows how they understand about, and then I created an ambassador for them, for this company, and we can show how the house is better with a new kind of paint, with new colors, colors that make you feel better, like more creative, more calm, and that's this kind of things. You understand? So this is some examples that what we can do. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you, Sergio, for your presentation. So before I give my floor to Rodrigo, let me just mention that we have very diverse audience today. So thank you so much for the audience from Korea. I think we also have the audience from Italy and Mexico. Very interesting this topic, Brazil, South Korea. So we have the representative of the Korean Council on Latin America, the Caribbean. We have the experts in Korea, Brazil art projects. We have lawyers, professional from the trading, that export food abroad. We have the professionals from various areas that I'm very excited to discuss with you. So we are gonna have the last speaker now. So while he is speaking, well, I would like to ask to the audience that send me the questions and comments. And also if you want to raise your hand and introduce yourself, address the comments directly to the speakers, we are happy to do that because we want to do something more interactive, okay? So that after this webinar, we can have a very interesting content that we can share on the social media and also keep doing this series of webinars. Okay, so let me introduce the last speaker, Rodrigo Salinas. Rodrigo is going to share with us the legal aspects of brand investment in audiovisual production. So he has an expertise in this area. After the presentation of the speakers from Brazil and Korea, South Korea, Brazil, respectively, Rodrigo, we are really excited to also learn from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sue, for the invitation. I'd like to thank also for the audience to be here today and for my colleagues in the panel. As the last one who is going to speak, of course, that I will take advantage of my colleagues' contributions and try to expand a little bit on their information, the information that they brought. Actually, I have a presentation that's a short presentation, some slides that I'd like to offer you. I'm going to share my screen for this presentation, but I have to expand a little bit due to the contributions that we have just heard from Dan. So I'm going to just spend this a little bit, a minute.
Perfect.
I think that first of all, as Yang pointed out, and Sergio also expressed it, branded series are kind of a transition in terms of advertising to content. Even more, advertising is getting into blur. The boundaries between advertising and content are being blurred, and actually the brands are using entertainment to communicate with their audience. And this brings some new phenomena, let's say, at least in terms of a legal standpoint. And as a general rule, let's say that the law is always behind the facts. So the facts evolve quicker than the law. And what we have just heard in terms of legal landscape, since that branded series actually triggers issues regarding audiovisual regulation in general, because advertising becomes content. So there are some regulations that need to be followed. And also it triggers advertising regulation as well, because as we know, as a general rule, advertising needs to be explicit. But branded series is not exactly advertisement, it's content. Or it's advertised and content at the same time, and depends how it's produced and how it is shown to the consumer. So in terms of a first comment, I just raised the issue that we will have probably to face some issues regarding audiovisual regulation and content regulation in general, and more specific advertisement regulation. In terms of changing of the Brazilian landscape, we are seeing actually that advertising has crossing the boundaries between the traditional advertisement and and content production. This is shown by, for example, the increase in numbers in terms of ad spending in reality shows in Brazil more recently from 2020 to 2021. And companies are acquiring production companies. So there are many brands in Brazil that have just acquired big corporations. Big corporations in Brazil have just acquired production companies because they are interested in their content assets. Let's say, for example, YouTube channels that can communicate with audience and have actually a huge audience. So what the brands want is the exposure towards this audience in order to expand their communication. That's exactly what content permits. as Young and Sergio have just explained. Um, so branded content is something that's is an extreme from direct appearance of a brand in a content. What is, for example, the product placement. In the product placement, we have the content showing up, the content appearing in the brand appearing inside the content, inside of the film. So you have, for example, a character that's interacting with a brand because he enters into a bank, or he goes to a coffee, or he drinks some beverage, or eat some food specifically. Uh, Whereas the branded content is something that's the storytelling actually conveys a message that's important to the brand or to the purpose of a brand, whether this being social values or another feature of that brand that it's important for that corporation specifically, such as to increase awareness of a specific beverage, or to increase awareness of a specific food that's not well known in Brazil, like, for example, or in another country. But what happens that sometimes the branded content is actually created with a specific purpose of communicating this message. Um, in terms of audiovisual regulation, I would say not specifically financing strategies. I was prepared to talk a little bit about financing strategy, but we actually need to expand a little bit more from this, from only the financing side, and go into the audiovisual regulation as a whole, because audiovisual content, for example, needs to be registered in Brazil before the national film agency. You have to pay a tax for this content to be shown in Brazil. And all this will need to be done for branded series as well. Although there is some controversial whether those regulation is applicable towards the pure web environment, but we can have branded series not only in the internet, they can be in the traditional media as well, even though usually branded series are short pieces of audiovisual content. They are short in time. They seem they are closer to short films. As Young explained, in terms of minutes, they are very short. Um, so in terms of the audiovisual regulation specifically, I would say that this is one feature that will need to be addressed, whether those contents shall be registered before the National Film Agency, whether they are, once they are registered, they will have to declare themselves as content or advertisement, because when you declare this piece of content as advertisement, the tax is much higher than content. So this is just an example on how those legal scenario will get blurred as well, since we are in a context in which advertisement and content are blurred. So I have to position myself as a producer or advertisement as a content producer when I require and apply for the registration before the National Film Agency of my piece of content, and have to declare, well, this is content specifically. So the tax is going to be the smaller one. That's the one that's applicable for content, and the tax is not going to be the higher one. That's the one applicable for advertisement. So this is just an example on how legal issues arise when we are in a context in which the reality goes quicker than the law. In terms of financing strategies, audiovisual content in Brazil has been has been in the last maybe 20 years a place in which there is a lot of tax incentive investment. The tax incentive investment may be up to the last, up to 2016, 2017 was the only financing strategy for audiovisual content production. Not nowadays. The expansion of the market by the new digital platforms who are producing a lot of content in Brazil and to the popularity of the digital platforms as a vehicle for the audience. So in terms of the traditional financing strategy, there is a financing mechanism in Brazil that allows for corporations to sponsor audiovisual production with their tax incentives. So they can sponsor individual production and at the same time deduct the amount that they invest in that audiovisual production in their corporate tax, provided some limits are followed and that some requirements are met. This could be used for producing web series, yes, provided that they are short films and that they are not advertisement. The productions also shall be Brazilian, so the tax incentives are channeled only for Brazilian productions. They are channeled only for independent audiovisual productions, and they of course allows for a deduction of 100% of the amounts invested in their production. The requirements are those that I explain here. So for example, first one, the productions need to be pre-approved by the National Film Agency. Pure advertisement is not allowed, and the issue of whether the content, a branded series, is advertisement or not is something that's going to be scrutinized by the National Film Agency. So again, we are in a context in which the boundaries between what's advertisement, what's content is blurred, and I have to position myself like supporting the fact that this specific project is not aimed at producing advertisement; it's producing content. In which concerns to the more traditional ways of advertisement, the National Film Agency has been accepting, for example, product placement as an exchange for those tax incentives. So it's common that some company sponsor an audiovisual project using their tax incentives, and at the same time they benefit from a product placement, let's say in a film or in a TV series or in a short film. This is something that has been accepted. But the product placement, as you have just seen, is something that's traditional. It's not exactly branded content. And the regulation also, of course, does not, it will not address the branded content, which means that for those tax incentives being used for producing branded content, this requires an analysis that needs to be case by case. And why it needs to be case by case? Because we need to know first whether the brand is going to be exposed in the content. It may be exposed or it may not be exposed. We need to know how this content is going to be released, because depend on who and how the content is released, this creates an impression and fits the content much more closer to an advertisement than to content. Whereas the tax incentives cannot be used for financing pure advertisement. So we need to carry out a case-by-case analysis in order to assess whether those tax incentives can be channeled for branded content pure production. Maybe another interesting feature of those tax incentives is that, as what happens with content production in general, they can be used for international projects. As we know, those audiovisual productions frequently they are international co-productions. So we have partnerships between Brazilian and foreign production companies for producing a content that's going to be national of both countries. And usually this content is more capable of traveling. It's more capable to reach a huge audience due to the fact that it speaks and communicates with people from more than one country. The regulation for international co-production in Brazil has not a language requirement or a content requirement. So basically, the content may be speaking in any other language besides Portuguese, not necessarily Portuguese, and there is not a requirement in terms of content. On the other side, as it happens with the tax incentives in general and audiovisual regulation in Brazil, those tax incentives are channeled only for audiovisual productions that are Brazilian plus independent, which means that the producer shall hold the IP in the content producer. And at the same time, the producer needs to be free to commercially exploit the content. So these requirements are present in all kinds of tax incentives that are allowed in Brazil. First of all, the IP needs to belong to the producer, at least the major part of the rights, and the producer at the same time needs to be free to commercially exploit the content, which those features sometimes may collide with brand owners' interests. When it comes to private financing, then the landscape is totally different, because actually brands are free to commission original content development. At the same time, they are free to finance the production of content already developed. So in this case, intellectual property in the content developed or produced may belong to the creators, to the producers, or they may be, those rights may be assigned to the brands. So it's the free negotiation between the parts that is applicable. And normally the brands may exercise control over the content produced, because this is a debate that we see many times when there is an approximation between brands and the content. It's a discussion whether to whom belongs the content. The content shall belong to the creators and to the writers and producers, or the content shall belong to the brands, and what the limits between brands and owners and creators in terms of exploitation of the content produced. Whenever we use tax incentives or any kind of legal subsidy for audiovisual production in Brazil, this will trigger audiovisual regulation, and this regulation will protect creators and authors and producers, and specifically producers. On the other side, in case there is private finance for those productions, then this regulation is not applicable in terms of control of the IP arising out of the production, and the brands are free to control the rights in the content. Even though this is something that's very, let's say, very strange in the content context, because usually the content producers or the creators are the owners of the material that they produce. It's something that do not fit very well, because usually brands are not used to exploit intellectual property. They do not have the expertise for exploiting intellectual property, and this may sound a little bit strange, but this is a conflict of interest that arises quite often. In terms of IP or intellectual property aspects, Brazil is a member of the main IP treaties that exist in the world. For example, Berne Convention, TRIPS Agreement, and WTO in terms of copyright. Maybe the distinguished feature of the Brazilian copyright law in this regard is that in Brazil, the authorship belongs to a natural person, which implicates that it's not only due to the financing of a branded series or the financing to a story that a company will own the copyright on this story or on this specific visual work. In other words, the finance will not result in copyright assignment, neither an employment relationship. So this is a distinguished feature of the Brazilian law that maybe should be proper assessed in each specific case. And there is specific regulation also applicable to those copyright assignment agreements. in order to protect authors and creators. Additionally, in Brazil and in probably in Korea as well, audiovisual works are complex regarding IP rights. In Brazil, audiovisual works are authors created by natural persons, in which the director plus the augmented creator are the authors. It's a joint authorship work. And all participants are also entitled to IP rights in their specific contributions. And as it happens internationally, the producer is the one who is in charge to obtain all those rights from the various participants in audiovisual production. Also, stories are protected independent from the audiovisual work, which means that protection on the story itself is distinguished from the protection on the audiovisual work actually produced. Story creators are the holders of the IP rights in their creations, regardless of any connection with a brand's values or elements, for example. This is something that's important as well in the relationship between brands and producers or brands and creators. Additionally, in terms of trademarks, for example, trademarks in Brazil, provided that they are of course registered in the Brazilian territory, and they are protected in the Brazilian territory, they can be freely used in artistic works. So this is something that makes also this context between in which the boundaries between advertisement and content production are blurred. Theoretically, a brand can be exposed in not visual production without prior authorization from the trademark owner. Of course, it's not natural due to the elements regarding the exposure, then the brand and the trademark is benefited when it is exposed in audiovisual production. It's not natural, and that's why there is product placement arrangements and other contractual arrangements for compensating and for allowing the use of trademarks in audiovisual productions. But in terms of IP law, they could be used without proper authorization. And also in the relationship between brands, brand owners, and creators and audiovisual producers, the producers are the ones who need to make proof that they acquired all needed rights in audiovisual work. So I think that this gives you an idea of the general landscape, legal landscape in which branded series production are being exploited and are being used in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Rodrigo. So I think Sergio and Mr. Kang have a lot of content and explanation to implement your project Brazil in Korea, and also empower other creators and companies to promote their brands through storytelling. So as I discussed before this webinar, we are supposed to prepare one question for each speaker. I hope you remember that that challenge that I suggested. So it means that Sergio is free to ask a question to Mr. Kang and Rodrigo, and Mr. Kang the same thing, Rodrigo the same thing, so that you have some time to discuss among yourselves. During this discussion, I'm getting the questions and comments from the audience. So why don't we start with why don't we start with Rodrigo? Rodrigo, why don't you ask a question, like a general question to Sergio and Mr. Kang? I'm pretty sure that you must have some curiosity about their insights on this matter.
Okay, thank you. So actually, I was curious about the trend today in Korea regarding branded series vis-a-vis product placement, because we have just seen in Brazil that in Brazil, the exposure of brands in content is real content is something that is growing up in percentage, but it's much more as a traditional way of advertisement than pure branded series. So what I have seen is that branded series something that's under development in Brazil yet. And I'd like to know what's the scenery in Korea in terms of the comparison between product placement and branded series. So there are much more branded series than product placement. How do you assess brands' behavior toward these two extremes between traditional advertisement and non-traditional advertisement?
Okay. Yeah, Korea. It's been like it's changed a lot, like the last several years because new technology, of course, web. Actually, all the life is like lifestyle. It's a change also the way the customers and then how they consume and then how they look through all the product, okay, the brand. And then so Korea also very like fast speed and then also trend like very fast. So they kind of like a little bit looking for always like new things, you know. So traditional way of commercial, TV commercial and then PPL, yeah, still, you know, it does, okay, still like a certain amount of, you know, like still like they, you know, run the business those way, but getting more these days actually uh, more branded like web series, web drama. They produce like even every year like more and more. Also, it's a lot of the money actually go into the market. So I think because the audience, the way to audience the feeling, you know, toward the brand. I mean, they don't like direct or they don't like be educated. Okay, they don't like being okay. So that's good enough. Okay, so they want something like feeling. Okay, like through a story or through an emotional way. You know, audience looking for those way. So that way more understand and then and more close the relationship with the brand. So that's why you know the brand, the series is getting more popular and then popular. So in the beginning, actually a little bit awkward, you know, like maybe too much like into story or brand, but now it's like very natural. Even some brands they don't even recognize. Okay, what's this? You know, the brand. But eventually, very nice storytelling, and then in the end, they realize, wow, this is a good story. Then automatically, audience like that brand. So I think this market still like getting big and big as long as like they using, you know, a lot of smartphone. Also they're using a lot of short video. So even the branded series episode like okay, in the beginning usually like 10 minutes and then getting shorter and shorter every year. Now like 5 minutes and even right now 1 minute. It's like perfect for even Instagram like series, 1 minute. So I mean, even like a TikTok way style of maybe series, so it's gonna be like big expand, you know, all different kind of style in Korea. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So let's do the following. Sergio and Mr. Kang, why don't you ask a very short question to Rodrigo? Obviously, please justify why you are asking that. Just because there's the audience that is not familiar with this topic, branding series or branding. So let's start with Sergio, then Mr. Kang, ask the question to Rodrigo.
Okay. Rodrigo, we know that we are in a very difficult time, political time with culture in Brazil, right? And what do you think about the next year, maybe 2022, next year, about this kind of things like the political with the incentive like to make more productions in Brazil, to make maybe we can be more well, to be easier to work. What do you think about?
Okay, and Mr. Kang, and before Mr. Kang asks the question, let me just explain to Rodrigo that Sergio is not speaking on his own behalf because, by the way, Sergio is the president of several institutions, so he has this mission to empower other creators. So why don't you briefly talk about, because the audience might not know about your representativeness. Tell us about what you do as a president.
All right, just only a second about that. Well, I am president of Digital Brazil. Digital Brazil is an association that we created here in Brazil to talk about, to try to get the production closely to the government, to the laws, to make we understand much better how to work with the players, with the big players like Netflix and also Amazon and the other ones. And why? Because they look us like not very professional. So now with association, we are just changing this kind of view, and it's working. People just now can understand that we are growing and we are really very professionals, and we are trying to get closer to the law, to the government, to the ministry, and everything. And also, we are working all around the world, making a lot of connections with festivals, like from Korean festivals, like with Young Man Kang, with a lot of other ones, like in Europe, in the United States, and it's very very interesting. We have now like 200 creators. We are going. They are already associated, and they maybe have like 3 or 4 series each. So we are talking about more than 500, 600 series only in Brazil, and we can really change the market with this, because we are a lot of people with a lot of ideas and with a lot of very good work. That's why I want to talk about law.
Oh yeah, that's a great. Mr. Kang, your question?
Oh yeah, to Rodrigo. Okay, here we are dilemma. Okay, so we are Sergio and me. We are like creators, like we are filmmaker. Okay, even the Sergio he just mentioned like he has a huge group. Also, each year maybe more filmmaker artists involved, and then also I mean also a lot of audience probably they're business owner and then the brand owners. Okay, so it's like different group, and we need someone in the middle, like like you, right? Maybe by the law or by some organization, something like. Actually, okay, we are looking for those branded owners, but branded owners actually they don't know how to look to us. Okay, so that's why probably maybe we need you maybe in the middle. It's kind of like make a bridge between the business and then also artists, even like between countries like Brazil and Korea. So that's why I'm asking, like, what's your role?
Okay, Rodrigo, you can just answer as long as you feel comfortable. Okay, there are lots of issues that we mentioned here. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to try to address both questions. beginning by Young's last question, I think that the bridge between content and brand owners and content producers or creators and brand owners is something that maybe needs some time to be better built. I feel that we still need to have some more experience, and brand owners, yes, corporations also needs to get some experience in understanding the content world for them to communicate better. So, for example, I worked in a deal some months ago, some years ago, some time ago actually, in which there was a brand owner one side and a content producer on the other side, and there was a discussion that actually what the message that the brand owner was conveyed was communicated. It was difficult for the content producer to understand because the logic are distinct. When a brand is financing content, it's not advertisement, and the content has a specific logic. So, for example, we all know that there is one thing is the film that's actually produced. Another thing totally different is the underlying material. So the underlying material is protected separately from the content that's produced. Let's an example: the formats. Format of the reality shows. Format is one thing, and the show is another thing, and they are actually commercialized separately. So for a brand, for example, to own the format, it's awkward. It may be owns, I don't know, it may controls the reality show that's sponsoring, but not necessarily the format, because the format has a life that maybe started even before this specific production. So there are some let's say some difference that are related to the different words. Content has a life in itself. The formats have a life in itself, whereas the actually show producer has another life. It's going to be aired in any countries or translated, dubbed, I don't know, but they are different assets. And for one to talk about this, you need to understand how those assets actually works out in the content economy, in the creative industry economy. The difference may be it's that the brand owners, it comes from I don't know, from the car industry, okay? But you are producing content that is within the creative economy industry, and there are some difference from on how both assets are exploited and on how economic agents behave on on the different industries. So this is a matter. I think that there's still a matter of language. You need to, one side needs to understand the other culture and the other the economics on the other side as well for making better deals. Otherwise, one speaks A, the other speaks Z, and we cannot reach a deal. Okay. So this is on the more, let's say, more cultural, economic cultural approach. Regarding Sergio's questions, I think that first, the environment for content production in Brazil now, it's very hot. Actually, the market is hot. There are a lot of investment, private investment, and a lot of production. And we are actually, in my point of view, we are witnessing changing in the way that content has been financed. We were used to pure public finance at least until maybe 2016, something like that. Now we have a hybrid. We have both public finance and private financing, maybe with a trend to more private than public. It depends. Okay, but on the other side, the public financing is structured towards pure content, and pure content for traditional media. It's not well designed for content that's produced for the web specifically, or the tools that we had for public finance. They are all taught for addressing the traditional media productions, film and TV specifically. They are not tailored for the production for digital platforms, for social media, or for in either VOD platforms. And this is something that will need to be addressed by an update in the legislation and in the regulation. My feeling is that this is going to happen. It takes more time, but this eventually will happen, because this bridge needs to be fixed. We need to cross the bridge, and I don't know when, but maybe in the near future, the regulation will have to be updated for this purpose.
Okay, thank you. So thank you so much for the explanation. So now I think Sergio is to be challenged. So maybe Rodrigo and Ken very quickly ask a question to Sergio. And I will add one more question from the audience, because we have 3 questions here and we have 8 minutes, because I want to be on time. And also I would like to get the final comments from each of the speakers. So Sergio, there's one question from the audience. What they would like to know how Amazon can use Amazon's image to access market in South Korea. Okay, so for example, food is a very important matter for the Asians nowadays. So that's one question. So maybe Rodrigo, Mr. Kang, please ask a question to Sergio and be pretty brief in your answer. Okay, Sergio? Thank you. Rodrigo?
Okay, Sergio, I saw from your project that you are very keen on characters. So how you see the use of characters in branded series? Do you feel that those characters, because my fear is that when you have a character that already exists, and using the character in the branded series can kind of limit the way that people perceive and foresee this character. How you see this? Is it good for the character or bad for the character? Or do you think that the character should be absolutely original in terms of development? Ideally, we should develop a specific character for dealing with that specific web series.
And Mr. Kang? Mr. Kang, you have a question, or can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Sergio is kind of a little similar with Rodrigo. When you find the brand owner, and then probably they want to put in their product in your animation, right? Then would you willing to even change like your storyline or the character to fit into the brand in your animation? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for the questions. Those are very interesting questions. I will explain in one answer all the questions together, okay? Look, yes, we can do a lot of things, a lot of work with Amazon. Why? First, because we are talking about environmental first. 2, we are talking about social causes. So we are really very very close to this question, okay, to this world. We are now working with a brand new crypto coin. They are working with our products, our Forest League. We are trying to make a partnership. When I going to work with this Forest League, going to work with to show this crypto coin to the world. Why? Because we want to use this to make the more power the economy in Amazon. Why? Working with environmentals, working about the economy of their people, like people who lives in Amazon, all Amazon. This coin is almost going to be introduced into the world. It's almost going to be shown. Okay, it's called Terra. It's going to be very interesting. This is only one thing we can do. What we are trying to do, I will put a new character. We are going to work with a new character who is going to come to the history. So you can understand me. Maybe like this is what a young man asked me, how I can put more characters. This is one way, okay? And well, this is one example. Okay, talking about Amazon. We also work now. We are working now with a brand. This is some people who he have a PCD. Do you understand what's PCD? He doesn't see. He's a blind man. Okay. What did he does? He has a startup to help people on supermarkets to work so they can work to they can have, well, let me try to understand. They can use themselves. They don't need any help. They can work into the supermarket to get people, to get things, well, I am trying to make you understand me. Let me try to find the words. Well, we are doing a character into the history into the Forest League history. So to help people PCD to work to get easy in the supermarket, in the places like drugstores, okay? And this is what we can do only with my characters, and that's it. Did you understand me?
Okay.
I'm sorry about my English.
Okay, Sergio, thank you so much for your answer. Well, I have a few questions here, then we are out of time. So what I'm gonna do is when you make the final comments, and also I have my own perspective, so I would like to hear from you. So when you make the final comments, please consider the questions that I'm going to address to each of you, okay? So
Okay.
the first question is, so there's a question about, maybe it's for Mr. Kang to answer, okay? Or Sergio. There might be this potential conflict between what the brand wants, okay, when financing the creator work and the creativity of the producer, right? For example, the values of the brand or environmental issues. I mean, sometimes the brand owner has its own values that maybe the creator conflicts with that brand, the values, when creating its own work. So how do you manage it? Just like you asked Rodrigo about, how we can manage all these different people and interests. How, as a creator, you manage the brand owner when there might be some conflicts of values and creativity of the creator? Okay, so that's the question for you when you make the final comments. And to Rodrigo, we have the comments and concern from the Korean producer. So she is a producer working in Korea. She's very interested in international co-audiovisual works, okay? But for her, it's IP aspect looks quite complicated to progress, and so she would like to start to find local partners and get some advice about tax issues, IP issues in Brazil. So if you give some guidelines, also I would appreciate, okay, when you make your final comments. And okay, so Sergio, you have my perspective when you make your final comments. So you are the leader here, okay? You have this mission to make this bridge between South Korea and Brazil, connecting with the professionals. You have many creators only from Brazil. Imagine in Korea, imagine in the US, imagine Israel. Many creators trying to do work with you, and I think individual has so much power nowadays, like and the consumer creator. So when you make final comments, I would like you to consider how we can support you, how the audience, how the community, the companies, organizing can support you. We have the representative from the IBREI, Mauricio Brazza. I don't know if you are here. Hi, Mauricio. Okay, so hi, Mauricio is the president of IBREI. He's the IBREI is the one of our institutional supporters of the webinar. So I will invite you soon, okay? But let's go to the final comments due to the time. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with Mr. Kang, Rodrigo, and Sergio. Then I will invite Mauricio to help me close this webinar. Okay, Mr. Kang.
Okay. Yes, that's the very common conflict between brand owner and then the brand producers or directors or writers. Yes, of course, because brand owners actually they want certain purpose or a certain image of the product, and then usually the brand owner actually they want to show more, they want to show more of their product or their more image. But sometimes through storytelling, actually even the image getting worse. Okay, if you want to show more product, then I mean that's the it's kind of like losing the audience. Then eventually, the quality of the branded series is going to be like low quality. So that's why usually in the meeting we have a lot of discussion. Also, we try to convince the brand the owners. Okay, so let's say one of my branded series, Lotte House. Okay, so I'm dealing with a big company like Lotte World Tower, and then we are so lucky because they don't know much about truly like a Lotte House in Germany from the quarter of the past life. Okay, so as a creator, actually, I know the information. That's why I wrote the storytelling, and then I strongly convinced them, and then actually they follow my the direction, and eventually we create the series. But on the other hand, if creator they don't have much information, and then they don't have much idea, then usually have a lot of difficult time, dealing with the brand owners. But the most important thing, I think, the communication is very important. So need a lot of meeting, like a lot of discussion. Okay, so what they want and what they need, how are we going to showing through storytelling, even through storytelling, like what kind of genre, or like how many times, like the approach, even like casting the actors, what kind of actor is like good image for this product. Okay, so I mean a lot of things like we need discussion with the brand owners between the creator. Yeah.
Thank you. Rodrigo, please.
Okay. International co-production is actually a matter of contract and conversation and expectation that need to be aligned before. So I'd say that for IP matters regarding international partnerships and I don't know, financing matters, all this needs to be previously addressed and previously discussed and specifically detailed in an agreement. This is the best way that I know for avoiding conflicts and to have more security on these international partnerships. Of course, that when it comes to official international co-productions, then there are additional regulation that is applicable. But these are pretty standard in any place of the world. provide that in case there is not international co-production treaty, then there may be additional regulation that is applicable. But it's not that complicated. International co-productions are complicated by themselves, okay? But they are complicated by themselves much more due to the to a lack of understanding and to the this alignment of expectations from both parties, in my perspective. Okay. And sometimes due to contracts that are not well designed and could have been better designed in order to create solutions when conflicts arise, because conflicts will arise quite often, many times. The issue is whether the solutions have been anticipated or not, and then we have to create solutions in a context that's not the best one for this purpose. Okay.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Sergio?
Okay. First of all, let me tell you, I forgot answering about one question about that Rodrigo asked me about if it's good to the characters or not. I think yes, it's good. First of all, yes, it's wonderful because we are talking reinventing them first. This is remodeling, so they are much more modern. So, and I can, because we work with entrepreneurs, so we can work with a lot of kind of brands. This is interesting about talking about only my product, but talking about other projects, yes, I believe that all characters can do a very good work for the brands. Okay, I don't see it like bad, only good part. Okay, and talking about the market between Brazil and Korea, well, I believe there is a lot of opportunities. We are working, me and Young, only about one product right now, but we have a lot of companies that works in both countries and all around the world. So I believe that co-productions are really very interesting, and we can do a lot of kind of works with another creators also. We are working. Our cultures are different but close, right? When I went to Korea, and I was very happy to have this chance, because this was one of the best opportunities in my life to know Korea. Stay there like 10 or 15 days was like wonderful to know their culture and see how we can bring this to Brazil and work together. And I believe that not only with Korea, but all around the world, we are really very close globally, and I don't see any difficulty. I think the only difficulty is maybe about the law, that with Rodrigo it's gonna be easy for us. All right.
Okay, so you have more comments? How can the community support you?
Well, I believe that we can use not only to support me, but we can support each other, because the companies needs new kind of brand, and we as creators, storytellers, we can do a really wonderful work for all of you, all of the brands, and to put your brand much more closer to your customers, to make them understand why and how you are working to the social causes. That's what exactly the new consumers are worried. And if we can support each other, we can grow the market together and show to the world our power. That's it.
Thank you, Sergio. So we are on time, out of time. So I will invite Mauricio Brazar, the president of the IBRE, Brazilian Institute for Development of International Business Relations. So Mauricio, thank you so much for supporting us and joining our webinar here. So I will ask you to close. You don't need to talk about the branded series, okay? We don't expect that, yeah, from you. But you just you know, give the thank words to the audience, the speakers, so that we can keep organize these webinars together.
After such wonderful presentations, I wouldn't even dare to speak about branded series. But I would like to thank each one of you for this wonderful information that you shared here, for sharing all your experiences and your knowledge with us. And I'd like to thank Sue once again for putting together such brilliant minds in this event. And it's always a pleasure to support these events that you put together, because they're always something that brings something new for us, something important, and so count on our support always. So Sue, congratulations, and thanks to be with you today.
Thank you so much. So congratulations for all of the speakers for the accomplishments of this work, because we worked pretty hard to make this happen, and I'm very excited that we were able to share this amazing content with the audience. Now Ibre will also help us, and we're gonna share this recording on social media, on LinkedIn, and send to those who are not able to watch us today, or those who watch it but they want to watch again. And then I will centralize all the comments and questions that I will receive later. Definitely we'll have more work to do. And once again, I would like to say my thank words to everybody who is here. So eu vou falar em português. Muito obrigada, gente, pela participação, pelo tempo de vocês. Vamos continuar essa rodada, porque as marcas precisam de criatividade. The creators are able to make that happen. And once again, we need someone like Rodrigo, some institute like Ibrei, because we need to, you know, get the power together and help each other. So on behalf of the audience and the organizations and supporters, once again, thank you so much for your time, and let's keep in touch. Bye. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.